Nationwide anti-ICE protests. Why the movement is growing faster than ever. Protests against ICE are spreading coast to coast, fueled by recent unrest in Los Angeles. This movement is gaining momentum. Here's why. The spark. LA saw violent clashes last week, with thousands demanding ICE reforms. Now, cities nationwide are joining in. From New York to Chicago, protesters are blocking streets and staging sit-ins. The message: abolish ICE now. Activists say ICE's policies tear families apart. Stories of deportations are driving the outrage. But ICE defends its role, citing national security. Critics argue their methods are too harsh. Social media is fueling the fire. Viral videos of arrests are drawing even more people to the cause. Politicians are split. Some call for reform, others back ICE fully. The debate is heating up in Congress. What's next? Organizers vow to keep pressure on until changes happen. This movement isn't slowing down. Will these protests lead to real policy shifts? Or will the divide grow deeper? Stay tuned. GOP shifts stance. Will Trump's tax cuts survive? The GOP is reconsidering Trump's tax promises. What does this mean for Americans? Trump's 2017 tax cuts were a hallmark of his presidency. Now, Republicans are eyeing changes. Why the sudden shift? Rising deficits and budget pressures are forcing tough decisions. Some GOP members argue the cuts benefited the wealthy, leaving middle-class Americans behind. Others fear reversing these cuts could hurt economic growth before the 2026 elections. Democrats see an opportunity. They're pushing for reforms to fund social programs. Trump's response. He's reportedly furious, calling it a betrayal by his own party. What's next? Behind the scenes, negotiations could reshape tax policy for years to come. Will Republicans find a compromise? Or will this divide the party ahead of 2026? One thing's clear. The battle over Trump's tax legacy is just heating up. Gavin Newsom clashes with GOP over LA protests. Political firestorm explained. Tensions are boiling over in California as Governor Gavin Newsom clashes with GOP leaders over LA protests. Let's break it down. Recent protests in Los Angeles have sparked a heated debate between Democrats and Republicans. Newsom fired back at GOP officials like J.D. Vance, accusing them of failing to address the real issues. The governor didn't hold back, saying, "Do your job," to his Republican critics. Vance and other GOP leaders argue Newsom is mishandling the situation, fueling unrest. This clash highlights the growing divide between California and conservative leaders nationwide. Let's look at the key moments from this fiery political exchange. Newsom's remarks have gone viral, with supporters praising his bold stance. Meanwhile, critics say his approach is only making tensions worse. The big question: will this confrontation lead to real policy changes, or just more division? As the 2024 election heats up, clashes like this could become even more common. What do you think? Should Newsom take a different approach, or is he right to stand firm? Greta Thunberg deported from Gaza, aid boat. What really happened? Breaking news: Israel has deported passengers from a Gaza aid boat, including climate activist Greta Thunberg. Let's dive into the details. The aid boat was attempting to deliver humanitarian supplies to Gaza when it was intercepted by Israeli authorities. Greta Thunberg joined the mission to highlight the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, drawing global attention. Israel claims the deportation was necessary for security reasons, citing potential risks. Critics argue the move undermines humanitarian efforts and free speech. Thunberg has been vocal about her support for Palestine, sparking both praise and controversy. This incident raises questions about the balance between security and humanitarian aid. The international community is divided, with some nations condemning Israel's actions. Meanwhile, Gaza continues to face severe shortages of food, medicine, and supplies. Activists vow to continue their efforts, despite the setbacks. What do you think about this situation? Let us know in the comments below. RFK Jr. dismisses CDC vaccine committee. What this means for public health. In a shocking move, RFK Jr. has removed all 17 members of the CDC's vaccine committee. Let's break down what happened. The decision was announced earlier this week, sparking immediate controversy across the political and scientific communities. RFK Jr., a longtime critic of vaccine mandates, claims the committee was biased and not transparent enough. But critics argue this move could undermine public trust in vaccines and the CDC's scientific integrity. The dismissed members included leading experts in immunology, infectious diseases, and public health policy. Some speculate this could lead to major shifts in vaccine recommendations and public health guidelines. Public reaction has been divided, with supporters cheering the move, while health organizations express alarm. What does this mean for future vaccination campaigns? Experts warn of potential confusion and hesitancy. The White House has yet to comment, but pressure is mounting for an official response. This unprecedented move raises bigger questions about the intersection of politics and public health. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story and its implications for all of us. Tragedy in Austria. 10 dead in school shooting. What we know. A devastating school shooting in Austria has left 10 dead. Here's what we know so far. The attack occurred early this morning, shocking the quiet community. Police responded swiftly to the scene. Eyewitnesses describe chaos as students and teachers fled for safety. Many were seen hiding in classrooms. The suspect, reportedly a former student, was later apprehended by police. Authorities are investigating motives. Tributes are pouring in for the victims, with flowers and candles left outside the school. Austrian leaders have called for unity and stricter gun laws to prevent future tragedies. Schools across the country are increasing security measures as fear lingers among parents and students. Psychologists are offering support to those affected by the trauma of the shooting. The global community has expressed condolences, with leaders calling for action against gun violence. As the investigation continues, the focus remains on healing and preventing another tragedy like this. UK takes action, sanctions on Israeli ministers over Gaza controversy. The UK government has made a bold move, imposing sanctions on Israeli ministers over controversial Gaza comments. Let's break it down. The sanctions target key Israeli officials, following inflammatory remarks about Gaza. But what exactly was said? The comments reportedly called for aggressive military action in Gaza, sparking international outrage. The UK's Foreign Secretary stated these remarks crossed a line, prompting immediate diplomatic action. Sanctions include travel bans and asset freezes, a significant escalation in UK-Israel relations. Israel has condemned the sanctions, calling them unjustified interference in their domestic affairs. Human rights groups have praised the UK's stance, while some allies express concern over the precedent. This comes amid ongoing violence in Gaza, with casualties mounting on both sides. The UK's move puts pressure on other nations to take similar actions against inflammatory rhetoric. Experts warn this could strain UK-Israel trade relations worth billions annually. Meanwhile, Palestinian officials have welcomed the sanctions as long overdue. The sanctioned ministers remain defiant, vowing to continue their hardline stance on Gaza. As tensions escalate, the international community watches closely for further developments. What do you think about the UK's decision? Share your thoughts in the comments below.